to avoid any interference in IRS audits or investigations of particular taxpayers? And if you can't answer that yes or no, just say so, and then I'll move on to the next question.
Sir, that is without question that I will follow the law.
All right, sir. Can you tell us whether, yes or no, you can report back to this committee in 30 days after investigating to assure us that there have not been any requests by the President, any political appointee, or any family member of the President to direct or influence the audit or termination of an audit or investigation of any taxpayer or entity?
Hey everyone, welcome back to True Voice. I'm Andrew. If you care about democracy, transparency, and holding power accountable, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a breakdown like this one. I want to talk about a moment that honestly should concern every American, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or independent. It's a clip from a congressional hearing where Representative Lloyd Doggett presses the Trump Treasury Secretary about tax policy and, more importantly, about political interference in the IRS. And let me tell you, the answers or lack of answers are very revealing. Let's watch.
Thank you, Mr. Doggett.
Thank you. If beauty is in the eye of the beholder, certainly I can understand, Mr. Secretary, why you and the members of the Trump cabinet are so enthusiastic about this beautiful bill. It gives so much to those at the top, and of course Trump appointees are not just in the top 1%, but the top 1,000th of 1%. I applaud your personal success, but isn't it true that for you and for a number of cabinet members and other Trump appointees, simply not having your taxes restored to the level that existed when President Bush and President Obama were in office at 39.6% will provide you very substantial personal benefit? Yes or no?
That is not a yes or no question, sir.
All right, if you can't answer it.
As many people
Thank you, reclaiming my time. If you can't answer
have different tax
reclaiming my time, please, sir.
And it is shown,
Mr. Chairman, I don't want my time taken if the witness will not yield.
I would recommend, Mr. Doggett, that if you asked a question, at least allow them to answer.
You can recommend it, but you're taking my time from
your
him
time
answering
is
the
moving,
questions.
so
Continue.
use it.
Let me say, I understand you can't answer that with a yes or no. I'm concerned about the weaponization of the Internal Revenue Tax Code by the President and your role in it. Section 7217 of the Internal Revenue Code makes it unlawful for the President and his partners like you requesting IRS to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of a particular taxpayer. Section 6103, as you're familiar, protects taxpayer privacy. Yet in violation of both, the President began threatening Harvard in April, and on May 2nd, he declared, we're going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. It's what they deserve. And you've been part of the we when you said on May 23rd that you publicly declared that you were moving forward on this, that there were a substantial number of rules that Harvard may have violated. Can you tell me, yes or no, whether you can pledge to avoid any interference in IRS audits or investigations of particular taxpayers? And if you can't answer that yes or no, just say so, and then I'll move on to the next question.
Sir, that is without question that I will follow the law.
All right, sir. Can you tell us whether, yes or no, you can report back to this committee in 30 days after investigating to assure us that there have not been any requests by the President, any political appointee, or any family member of the President to direct or influence the audit or termination of an audit or investigation of any taxpayer or entity?
Well, Congressman, as you said, this is all private matters, so it would be out of line for me to report back on any of this. But I can assure you that I will follow the law and all proper procedures.
Thank you. I'm just asking you whether you can report back in 30 days whether there has been any attempt, I'm not asking for the specifics of who was involved, by the President or any of the other people I mentioned, to influence or direct any audit or investigation of a taxpayer. Can you do that, sir?
Well, I can report right here. I am not in the habit of repeating private conversations, but the President and I have never had a conversation on Harvard's tax status. So I will report that right here. We don't need 30 days.
I'm not asking just about Harvard. If they can pick on
days.
Harvard, they can pick on anyone. And I'm just asking for a simple report on whether there have been any efforts of that, whether from the President or one of his associates, and it would seem to me that would be easy to do. But let me move also to the question of privacy as it relates to data sharing. Do you agree that there is no authorization for the IRS to share tax data broadly with DOJ or federal agencies for the general purpose of data consolidation?
Section 6103
Yes,
protects taxpayers'
Precisely.
taxpayers' information. We have followed all proper procedures, and including in terms of the data sharing with the Department of Homeland Security, we are allowed to share taxpayers' information for those taxpayers who are believed to be criminals or have committed a crime.
I'm asking you about DOJ and its apparent effort to have an omnibus information sharing agreement with agencies. Do you agree that you cannot share taxpayer data without statutory authorization from this Congress, and you don't have any for that purpose?
We will follow the direction of the regulations and the court, sir.
Are you sharing any taxpayer information with DOJ for this omnibus information sharing agreement where they seem to probe into the privacy of every American, consolidating it with Social Security and other private information? Or is there such sharing going on now, sir?
Well, first of all, I would push back on that characterization.
You can do so.
And
I just want to know if you're sharing in the
I will
time that
tell you,
remains.
and there seems to be a misunderstanding among many people on your side of the aisle on what DOJ is. DOJ employees.
I understand you had some misunderstanding about it, and Mr. Musk yourself, but let me ask you again, just simply on the question I'm asking, are you sharing any of this data with DOJ without congressional authorization?
As I said, we are following all of the laws.
Thank you. I would appreciate an answer to my question, but I will yield back since my time has expired.
Mr. Smith is recognized.
So it starts off with Representative Doggett calling out what many of us have known for years, that the Trump tax bill wasn't crafted for everyday Americans. It was a gift-wrap package for the ultra-rich, the top 0.001%. And that's not exaggeration, that's just fact. Even Trump's own cabinet stood to gain directly from these cuts. Now, as a Democrat, but more importantly, as a patriot, I find this deeply disturbing. When you have people in power passing laws that personally enrich themselves while cutting benefits for working families, that's not just bad policy. That's corruption wearing a suit and tie. Doggett tries to get a simple yes or no on whether the secretary will personally benefit from the tax cuts. And what happens? He dodges. That is not a yes or no question, he says. Come on, if you're a public servant and the people ask whether you profit from your own policies, you owe them a clear answer. Dodging that question isn't just evasive, it's insulting to every voter out there working paycheck to paycheck. Then we get into the really dangerous stuff, allegations of the president trying to weaponize the IRS. We're talking about threats to Harvard's tax-exempt status made publicly by the president and echoed by the secretary himself. That's not how government should work. We don't use federal agencies to punish political enemies or institutions we don't like. That's a violation of both the letter and the spirit of the law. Section 7217 and 6103 of the tax code exist specifically to prevent this kind of abuse. And yet, when asked if he can commit to reporting back in 30 days about any attempts, just attempts by the president or his family to interfere with IRS audits, he won't do it. He hides behind privacy laws, but no one asked him to name names, just to confirm whether interference happened. If you've got nothing to hide, you say so, loud and clear. And finally, Doggett raises a red flag about something that's gotten far too little attention. The idea that the IRS might be sharing taxpayer data with the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, or others without clear congressional authorization. That's surveillance creep. That's how democracies backslide. And if the secretary can't just say, no, we're not doing that without authorization, then I think we all have a right to be worried. Look, this isn't about partisanship. This is about principle, whether it's taxes, audits, or data sharing. These systems only work if the people running them are accountable, transparent, and follow the law without political bias. When leaders refuse to give straight answers, when they dodge and deflect, it's not just frustrating, it's a threat to trust in government. So yeah, I'm fired up. And if you are too, if you believe in protecting the rule of law and keeping government honest, don't just watch from sidelines. Drop a comment, share this video, and most importantly, subscribe to True Voice. We're going to keep digging, keep speaking up, and keep holding power accountable. Thanks for watching. Stay loud, stay proud, and stay true.